Hey guys, here for another video, and today's not an OnlyFans video, as you guys can tell. It's a little bit of a life update. I think it's good to, try to inspire other people. Obviously, I'm no top G, but I think I'm doing decent in life considering my background and what I've done. But I have a couple topics to go over today. Again, this is zoom in of the topics. If you guys are interested or not, cool. But I definitely think I can provide some insight and kind of life and reality and the truth, and kind of being able to pursue something that I think is worthwhile in the long run. So part of that, in my life update notes, I put new job, getting out of 9 to 5, dreams / goals, woman to be in the back burner. Shout out to Hitler because I have the Hitler stash. Again, that's a sarcasm joke when I mean back burner. College is a scam. That's gonna be another video. I'm just gonna go over it really quick. How escorting works. Again, that's another video, but again, gonna go through that in a high level so you guys know what to watch out for. And the last point is focus on yourself and shove the red pill up your ass for maximum output. Obviously a joke, don't do that. Literally, that'd be kind of great in the Matrix, right? If the fucking Morpheus was like the blue pill or the red pill, and Matrix just shoves it up his ass to kind of have maximum dosage. But my little life update first up is new job. Finally got a new job, $90K per year. I'm pretty content with that after taxes. It's a remote job, so I can move anywhere and have my residence be anywhere. So obviously it's best, again, for those that don't know, they're young, having a residence that's in a cheaper state, because if you have, if you're in Chicago, California, New York, state income tax will literally fuck you in the ass. Go to Florida, go to Texas. I know those states have bad reputations, like not in my backyard, go Trump, or the fucking the white supremacist type states, Republican type states, which I'm more of a Democrat, but I kind of flip-flop both ways because I understand that being a radical of each one, I don't support all Democratic views, I don't support all Republican views, but what I do support is the option and power to have choice, right? I should choose to have my taxes go to where I want it to go, right? Let's say I don't really care about Medicare in the future. I hope and I wish I had the option to be like, you know what? I'm going to do well for myself. I'm going to save money up for myself. I don't really want to contribute to Medicare or all these other government programs. I understand some people do. If you support that, go ahead. But like I said, I like to have the power of choice rather than being forced to, contribute my taxes to some other place and I don't know how they spend their money, which that leads to another, again, my geopolitics and political stance is very strange. I'm constantly bugging politicians. If you guys think I roast OnlyFans girls really hard, I should show you some of my chat logs between some of the treasurers or politicians here in the city. I roast the shit out of them, not in a bad way, but more logical way, right? For example, one of the treasurers where I live, she made a constant 15K increase the past 4 years. I question her, I look at the budgets, I'm showing that, hey, you probably shouldn't get this much money because, there's a lot of people in poverty. When the average salary is 40K and you're making 15K increases in your salary every year, there's probably something wrong with it. Again, that's another story. Maybe if you guys are interested in my political side, I can get into that because I really do be roasting these niggas out here because there's just a lot of scammers. There's scammers in Miami. There's scammers in the government. There's scammers in OnlyFans. There's scammers everywhere, and kind of being able to expose that, I think, is, something that's worthwhile to look at. But going off that tangent, like I said, I just have a new job. I am gonna fucking hate it. I don't know about you guys. There's for me, I don't like corporate, but this is a means to an end, right? In one way, if you think about it, right, we're all selling ourselves to something, right? Whether it's OnlyFans, where the girls are, sexualizing themselves to sell themselves to, get more money. And in a way, I'm kind of doing the same thing. Obviously, it's a different moral scale because, sucking dick on camera and, doing some hardcore analytics is completely different. But the concept at the high level is the same thing, right? And I always say this, there's always a job that's willing to pay you more for the exact same thing you do, or just a little bit more. For example, right now, my current job, I work for the state, do a whole bunch of government, military, federal, budget analysis. I can go into it, whatever. It's a great job. I'm not going to lie, but I do want more money. Sure, I could stay in the same company for 20 years. And sure, after 20 years, I might get 6 figures. Okay, might. But I am seeing the way I work. Again, this is like my 20th, 21st job. Typically within 3 to 6 months, I'm going to get a raise somehow. I'll start applying to other jobs because I've gained the experience I want to gain. And if I could get a 10K increase, I'm going to do it, right? It just doesn't make sense for someone to wait 20 years to possibly get a 10K, 20K raise, because otherwise you get those issues that most people have, right? Oh, my salary isn't keeping up with inflation. Well, yeah, that sucks. I mean, it is what it is, right? Most companies don't value their employees. That's what it is. They should. They should give you more increases every year. They should have increases that are multiplied and kind of factoring in and ratioing, inflation. But most companies don't do that. So I always encourage you, anyone, or any of my friends, family, or I guess my family doesn't really listen to me, but younger generation to be like, hey, look at yourself. Think of what you want to be in the future. Obviously, you're going to have to suck dick metaphorically, right? In corporate, maybe accounting, maybe working for the big four, maybe doing XYZ, maybe working at some jobs you don't want to work at. Like, I'm going to get a weekend job. Like, I'm going to be making 90K, and on the weekend, because I have 24 hours, right, 48 hours of a weekend, I'm probably going to work 8 hours either doing, I don't know, working at Walmart or something, because those extra, I don't know, $700, I can use that to invest in other projects that I want to do. Again, I always say work hard now so you can have an easier life later. Same thing with college. Suck dick now. Put your party, rage mode to the side and focus on what you want to do now, so in the long run you will be where you want to be. Now, I am 29 years old recently, and I kind of discovered that very late in life. Again, that also contributes to having a father figure or a mentor to kind of tell you these things. So for those viewers out there, because I know in my demographic, a lot of you guys are youngins, young 20s, I hope you guys can think about that. Again, there's always a job willing to pay you more, and a lot of the job market's who you know, not what you know, and that sucks, right? But in my experiences, I usually just email HR directly and kind of bug them every couple weeks, and most of my jobs have been through word of mouth or me just being an annoying piece of shit, and then eventually they give me a chance. So again, that's just something that worked out for me, and if you guys want to try that, go ahead, and I definitely think it's worth it in the long run. And sometimes you might meet some really good connections. Like, one person I got really close to just by talking to them, reaching out to them, is a famous mathematician. I'm not going to say his name because he will get doxxed, and, you'll find he's a famous mathematician. We'll just leave it at that. And he's definitely helped me get a lot of jobs and connect me with a lot of people. So that's kind of like that networking skill. A lot of new jobs, again, requires networking. It's not so much the typical application, because if you think about it in an HR's perspective, they're getting hundreds of resumes. 90% of those people, 90 people are probably really good applicants. So it's like, what really stands out, right? Well, in a job that's analytics, everyone does analytics. Everyone has a finance, economics, math background. There's nothing really that stands out unless you can develop a connection, personal relationship with them, and then you kind of can weasel your way through that. Now, this leads to another segment, which I call getting out of the 9 to 5. This is something I listen to Andrew Tate. You guys can say whatever you want about him, but I think him and the Fresh and Fit podcast do provide value in the sense that they're trying to force you out of what they call the matrix, right? The matrix is the system. What is a system? System is you go to school, right? You go to college, right? And then you get your 40-hour-a-week job, and then you're in that company for the next 20 or 40 years. You save up for your Roth IRA, your 401k, maybe your 401(b). I think that's what it's called. There's a whole bunch of retirement plans. And then you eventually buy a house, get a happy family, and then you fucking die, right? And that's pretty, I think, maybe some people like it. I think that is pretty pathetic because it's just not efficient with your time. And these times you really can use technology and, the whole networking of online presence to, get a more efficient lifestyle, right? It doesn't make sense, and it just blows my mind that there are people that are working the same job for 20 or 40 years. It's like, that's crazy. If someone is working at one thing, one occupation, one company, one brand for 20 or 40 years, why not spend those 20 or 40 years working towards your own brand, working towards your own company? Again, that is the whole getting out of the 9 to 5. And not only that, you will get more money in the long run, hopefully pursuing your businesses, pursuing your dreams, pursuing your goals, whatever it is. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to document this, like, I love vaping as bad as it is. I'm a fucking vapor. I don't know. I like it. It gives you that, like, beer buzz. Gives me, like, I like cigars, too. Shout out to Andrew Tate. Shout out to Tristan Tate. They definitely got me. Not that I know them, but I've watched their vlogs to be, well-versed enough in the cigar game. DuPont lighters. I don't know if you guys know about DuPont lighters. They're, like, high-end lighters. I own 2 of them. I don't know, it's just like top G shit. It's kind of nice, and I really have a strong passion for vaping, as weird as that sounds, right? I swear to God, that's going to get memed. But for me, when I look at the vape business compared to, like, the coffee business, compared to, like, grocery business, it's very, very simple, and it's very, very profitable if you have the right chain of command, the right supply chain. What do I mean by that? think about Starbucks, right? You have your, if, for those that don't know, this is, I'm going to get into some supply chain stuff. I'm not going to get into any in-depth, like, actual crazy terminology and theories behind it, but supply chain in general is what they call a chain of supplies, right? For example, Starbucks, you get your coffee, right? You get your mocha latte or whatever. How is that mocha latte made, right? You have your cup, you have the plastic, you have the branding that goes with the plastic, you have the printing company that prints the brand into the plastic, you have the coffee. Where does the coffee come from? It comes from Guatemala, but what does it take for it to come to Guatemala, right? You have to pay the laborers, you have to pay the trucking, you have to pay the pounds, you have to pay, there's so many things that go into the actual coffee, right? Sure, it costs $4, but really, if you were to split the cost of that $4, there's probably like a good, like 30 different splits of whatever that cost is to actually make that coffee. It gets very complex. Obviously, it is very profitable, but for me, as a person that is not much of an entrepreneur, not much, I don't have crazy in-depth knowledge of the business world, but I do have some basic knowledge, and I look at like lighters. When I look at fucking vapes, they're pretty simple, right? You have your Puff Bar, you have your Mr. Fogs, and they already have all the product for you, and all you really do is just buy it from them, and you're just sort of a middleman, right? Puff Bar, the company, millions of vapes. You're the middleman distributing those vapes to people. Typically, they cost, I think they cost like wholesale $3 to $4 each one. And most, like if you live in a big city, they sell out for like what, $10 to $14 plus tax. So you're making a decent profit off it. You're obviously going to take a couple losses with the licensing and all that stuff. But again, I'm not going to go in depth into that, but that is kind of like one venture I do want to get into this year. What I'm going to call it is the vape crate. It's like, well, what's the vape crate? Another thing that you guys probably, I don't know if you guys do know, again, this is just me spitting game for those to give you guys just ideas to bounce off if you guys want to start a business in the future. There are like crate operated businesses. There are crate operated houses. There are crate fucking operated restaurants. They're pretty cool. They're pretty efficient. They're not too expensive. You can get them designed inside and out for a pretty cheap price. So the way I see it, it's like, okay, cool, I could get a locale in a big city, right? That's maybe $2,000, $4,000 a month, or you can pay for a pretty small space, get one of those crate shops that cost around $4,000, maybe $10,000 if you customize it, make it look nice. And that's not a lot, right? You could put that into payments, maybe get a loan or something if you have good credit. Good credit does help, but it's not like end all be all, right? So I'm gonna do that. Start off small. Start off with wholesale with Puff Bar and Mr. Fogg specifically. And again, I'm gonna start off small. There's a lot of things I don't know. I'm gonna learn a lot of things in the way. For example, when I worked in not worked in high school. I did work for high school, but when I was in high school, what I used to do is that I would get sodas. The 12 pack for this is again years and years ago, right? Like this is about 12 years ago when sodas were still back in the day. You could buy a 12 pack of Mountain Dew for $3.50 straight up. Now it's probably like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's $7 now, but I would get the 12 pack for $3.50, put that bitch in my locker room, sell each soda for $1. Everyone has $1 in high school. That shit sold like hotcakes. I'd make around like 60 a day easily. I would have Pop-Tarts, literally have that shit in my locker. Sure, it's not legal, but when school lunches are charging $2 to $3 for a soda and they're charging Pop-Tarts $2 to $3, I'm gonna undercut that shit. I'm a fucking entrepreneur. And again, that's how I started off small. And I always say doing those simple things first, getting like the base cases and getting the theories and basic understanding of these businesses and how they operate is a good start. Sure, you might not be making a huge business and a lot of money, but you're getting your foot in the door. You're making some profits. And I'm gonna do that and try to document my journey so you guys can be inspired to, take a risk, because I've been playing it safe my entire life. And this leads to like dreams, the next section that I mentioned. You can't just take life playing it safe as I have. I see my father, the same thing. He's played it safe his entire life. And sure, you could play it safe, but again, there's that, what's that for, like high risk, high reward. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a consistent, stable, boring life that you don't really experience any of the crazy things and high cool rewards that this world has to offer, and just have that basic 9 to 5, which some people are happy, there's nothing wrong with that, but for me, I think there's something more. And I think this is like where the Andrew Tate breaking out the Matrix mentality comes in, right? There's always something more to life, and I think you should be, whether you're a man or a girl, right? But I would say be the best man you can be so you can choose the best partner you can be the provider, be the protector, be the innovator, be the person that actually is that person in the family, we're like, oh, this guy's doing this, and people are like, wow, I want to be just like him. And it's not so much of the ego thing, it's more like you're creating something that's actually yours. And you know, for my dream, I just want to be in the entrepreneur world. I look at all these businesses, I look at my friends that like invested in the right things at the right time, whether it's housing, whether it's fucking crypto. I'm not going to invest in crypto, I'm not going to lie, I don't know anything about that, even though I did high frequency trading. But the basic concept is that I'm watching other people do so much with their life, and I'm being left in the back burner with, sure, I got a good job, sure, I had the flexibility of being remote, sure, I'm getting experience, but none of this experience really means anything, right? No one gives a shit that I know how to calculate partial differential equations or code that shit on mathematica.com and make some cool algorithms out there that gives money for the bigger company but doesn't get more money for me. I just get the simple 5, 6K, 7K a month. Like, that's not much of a big deal in the long run. I understand there's some people who are like, well, 7K, it's a lot, 6K, it's a lot, but inflation's a bitch, taxes are a bitch, housing like keeps going up. It's just everything is going up. And again, it's the analogy of my friends like also going up in life, right? Everything is going up, whether it's prices, whether it's people moving up in life with how much they're making, being independent. And I feel like most people are stuck in the 9 to 5, as I am, but hopefully this year I can, you know, achieve my dream of being more of an entrepreneur, have my channel, do a lot more, be more professional of it, and hopefully I can get more viewers, because so far I think most people like my channel. I look at the fucking ratings and it's always above 95% average, so that's pretty good, to be honest, and that is pretty good motivation for me to keep forward. Obviously there are people who DM me of ideas or whatever they want, and I think it's kind of interesting to talk with all these people, and hopefully I can also achieve a successful YouTube channel, because that would also be a dream. And the last couple topics are going to be pretty short points, but a woman to the back burner, I think that is something that most people don't realize, right? They think they see a girl, they see a hot girl, and they're like, wow, she's just so into me. I don't think anyone should be dating before 24 years old. You're just not where you... No man, or the average man, is not where they want to be in their early 20s, right? You're most likely broke in college, don't have a good job, still making it out. And sure, you can find a girl to grow with, but I think you're better off being more efficient and focusing on yourself only. If you see women, cool, talk to them here and there. They should chase you, you shouldn't chase them. Again, Andrew Tate coming in, you're the prize eventually. Obviously, if you're not a prize, you're not the man you want to be. You're not the actual, again, the boy to man transition. I think most early 20 people are still boys. A boy shouldn't be dating, because it's just going to be a ticking time bomb before she leaves your ass. So again, if you know she's going to leave you, don't even attempt dating it. If you're just trying to get the box, sure, I always say just pay for the box, to be honest. Sure, if you've got $100, and I think eventually, and I went through this, where you start paying for box, right? And then you start getting a different mentality of women. You start objectifying them a lot more, but you also see that the women that are pure and modest, you start to appreciate those type of women a lot more. But again, box is just box. Honestly, just use your right hand. It's more efficient. Honestly, like if Hitler jacked off, the Holocaust probably wouldn't have happened. So again, do your jack off. Who cares about nofap? Just get the release off and just, you know, put the woman in the back burner and focus on yourself. And last couple points, college is a scam. That's going to be another video, but I always say college nowadays is probably not worth it. I was blessed in the sense that my parents were so broke that the college gave me grants for low income type stuff, and I also had good grades. So if you're a minority, because I'm fucking Mexican, I'm a fucking beaner, dude. Being a beaner that's low income with good grades, like, you're gonna get free college, which was, you know, basically what happened to me. There's so many scholarships because not many Mexicans do mathematics as a degree. I also got my degree pretty quickly. Like, I got my BS in math in 2 years and MS in math in 2 years. So it do be like that, but I honestly don't think now in these times, like if I would go back in time, I probably wouldn't go to college. I'd probably use that time to discover what I want to do, and probably, you know, look into those businesses. Like if I could go back in time, I would probably start a real estate, not because it's such a good business in the long term, but that's actually something I like looking at in the long run, looking at those MLS listings, seeing how prices rise. Like the whole real estate market is interesting to me, but it's one of those things where it's like you can never predict it through algorithms, because housing is more based off greed rather than algorithms. What do I mean by that? when you do like high frequency trading, right, you obviously do algorithms, but you start looking at the logic behind it, right? Like if tomato prices go up or chicken prices go up, right, there's usually a reason that's pretty like analytical that you can tell, like, okay, tomatoes going up because gas is going up and gas is causing the supply chain. Maybe it's causing these specific chains of the supply to go up. Okay, I can kind of tell this is going to go up. But like housing, it's very difficult. Sure, maybe you can like supply it to like wood being more like expensive, transportation of wood, transportation of materials, gas, property tax, but it's like this imaginary number, right? The market value, like the fact that this house that I'm in was bought for 180 but is worth 650 now. It's a pretty big house. But it's like, it's not really worth that because the house, there's been no renovation. It's a nice house, but there's been like not $500,000 worth of renovations. If anything, probably like 20 grand in a new kitchen and bathroom. But again, that's the only thing I don't like about real estate, but it's just interesting to see how housing works and kind of like society functions and giving in this imaginary number to, you know, this fucking asset that probably shouldn't be an asset, right? It's like other countries use housing more as, I think it's a commodity, more like a, not an investment. It's just like, okay, cool, you know, something that's needed. But here in America, it's definitely used as an investment, which again, that's an entirely different thing. And last 2 points, how escorting works. I think this is pretty valuable. There's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of catfishers out there. Obviously, if a girl asks you for money or a deposit before even meeting them, don't do that. It's a scam. Don't be a dumbass. I obviously was naive and did that when I was younger. But yeah, don't do that. Obviously, there's dangers to this, right? One thing that some people may not catch themselves on, I caught myself really quickly because I'm pretty good with anti-addiction, is if you have the accessibility to smash women like this, like you have the accessibility to smash 10s, smash 9s, smash 8s for just like $100-$200, you start noticing like, okay, cool, I want to get my nut off, I'll just spend my money and I'll make it back somehow. But some people get addicted to that and they spend, before they know it, $800 a month. And you should use that $800 to, like, you know, invest in other things. Invest in, let's say you have an idea. Like for me, I have my idea of my vape crate business. In terms of branding, the design, the actual architecture, blueprints of it, I'm hiring someone on Fiverr. Sure, it's a couple of hundreds of bucks. But again, the point is that you're going to spend a lot of money on women. Again, this goes back to the point of women to the back burner. Maybe pay it for like once a month or once every couple months. But eventually you should catch yourself. You're getting addicted. You'll start seeing women a lot differently, which is, I mean, good or bad if you objectify them. I personally objectify a lot of people. It just makes decisions easier, except my friends or my day ones or my family members. I obviously don't objectify them, but when it comes to randoms, I'm just like, I don't really care about them unless they need help. Obviously, if I see a woman getting robbed or some dude getting his ass beat, I'm gonna help out. But yeah, escorting, the whole, again, I'll make another video on that, but definitely changes your psychology. And you know, just catch yourself. It's like when people maybe try weed for the first time, or maybe they get into cigarettes the first time, right? They, without even noticing, kind of get stuck in that perpetual loop of like getting addicted to that. Again, something you should watch yourself out for, and I definitely think addiction is a problem. You know, that's just something to point out. Last but not least, focus on yourself and shove the red pill up your ass for maximum output. What do I mean by that? Red pill is just, you know, the truth. You have to realize that we're stuck in a system, and you have to work your way out of it. Some people do. Some people don't. Some people spend the rest of their lives not even realizing that there's so much to this world beside the basic 9 to 5, right? What I mean by so much to this world, like, for example, when I was working remote, or I still am, it's like the fact that I can go to South America tomorrow, the fact that I can go to China, the fact that I can work from Japan, the fact that I can just go to Puerto Rico, spend my day and night in the beach working from there, that kind of opened my eyes. But I'm always going to be tied to that job. And what I notice is that there's so much I want to do, but it's tied to this 8-hour job, quote unquote 8 hours, because sometimes I spend 10 hours, sometimes I spend 12 hours. Sometimes in the last couple of days, I was like working literally 14 hours on a Saturday. And I'm always going to be tied to that job. So I eventually want to use that to leverage, is that the word, right? For use that money for other projects, and you know, just focus on yourself. And trust me, by the time you're 30 or 35, if a man really like a man's in his prime in his early 30s, like early 20s, you're still discovering yourself. You're still, if you lack a father figure or lack any knowledge and you're very naive, you're gonna waste time. Or like, that's just a natural thing to do. You, like they always say, like a smart man learns from his own mistakes, a wise man learns from others. it's neither one or the other, because we're human, we're gonna learn from our own mistakes and we're gonna learn from others, and we have to apply that. And hopefully by the time you're 30 as a man, I mean, if you're a girl, I mean, you're fucked, but unless you're pretty, you'll find a sim to wife you up. But as a guy, as a man, again, focus on yourself. So when you're 30, you know what you want to do, you have the batteries plugged in, and you can kind of go full-fledged in that, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm getting tired of getting tired. I'm getting tired of working. I'm getting tired of being a slave. Again, I use that metaphorically. I'm obviously not a slave, because I have options. I'm in a very good position financially, and in the whole job marketplace. But again, don't be a slave to yourself. Don't be a slave to life. Focus on yourself, whether it's going to the gym, try to have a healthy lifestyle. Don't drink too much. Don't smoke too much. Don't do too much of that. If you're going to do too much of something, do too much of yourself, right? Do too much of thinking, so you're at a point where you know what you want in life. And like I said, you have the batteries plugged in, and you can kind of just go in that full force. So hopefully that video, or this video, helped out. Again, just life update, just random insight. I think I have a lot of game to offer, because I've been around. I've failed a lot. I was not the wise man, in case you guys are wondering. Like, I didn't learn from others' mistakes. I am stubborn. I am a dumbass. Like, I had to learn from my own mistakes through trial and error, whether it was women, whether it was school, whether it was jobs. I had to do so much trial and error, and I definitely think I wasted a good 6 years, probably my 20 to 27 was me, quote unquote, wasting time, aka living life through trial and error. And I think 27, late 27, 28, and now 29, I definitely have a better vision of what I want. And hopefully you guys can have this conversation with someone, or have this type of thinking or emotional isolation with yourself at an early 20s, so you guys don't have to be like me and be quote unquote smart and learn from your own mistakes. Learn from my mistakes, learn from others, watch motivational videos, see what other people are doing, look at other businesses, ask on Reddit, ask them questions, ask your professors, ask for my vape shop idea. I literally went to 4 different vape shops, walked to them, I was speaking with the managers, talking to them about wholesale, how the product works, what is the point of sale system, how the supply chain works. There's so much that goes into this, but all you really have to do is take that first step. Ask these people, ask, because if you're like me and you're a dumbass, you learn, again, like I said, through trial and error, and you will be hopefully in a place you want to be in life. So I hope you guys like this video. Again, OnlyFans reviews are still going to continue, but I just wanted to spit some game, some Uno, spit some Uno. I should have had Uno card in my mouth, just spit it out and just be like, I spat some game. That's a dad joke, but please, like always, leave any comment below if you guys have any questions, college questions. I'll make a college video on that, because I've worked in the college, both in academia and administrative and financial level, so I kind of know some secrets here and there. There's a lot of loopholes in college which people don't tell you. There's ways to get free okay, this is another video. There are schools that offer programs, they're called apprenticeships, and it's typically free school, and they pay you for it. I'm not joking. This is not a scam. This isn't like, oh, you have to sign up for this.